My name is Melanie Campbell. I am the President and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and the convener of the Black Women's Roundtable. And it is my honor and my privilege to welcome you to our Take It to the Top Entrepreneurship Challenge. In many ways, it's our relaunch. We started to launch in March, and COVID 19 shifted that. And so now we're in a virtual world. And so we welcome everyone in the audience who's out there watching us, and those of you all who are also on Zoom for joining us. And we do apologize for the technology, but that's the COVID-19 world we live in. So we adjust as we can. So we thank you for this time. So we are launching our Entrepreneurship Challenge. I want to first thank our sponsors, the Coca-Cola Company and Verizon. I also want to thank our media partners, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Essence, and Black Enterprise. And so to get us started, Dee Marshall, who is our leader in this, I think we're ready to show a video to just get us started and give you a little background about what we're attempting to do.
All right, roll video.
Okay, so if the video is not queuing up, we're going to keep it moving, and we'll come back to that video. And so this challenge is for those of you all out there who, during this COVID-19 period that we're in, and also during the what we call a shift in our nation when it comes to addressing issues of racial disparities in this country, when it comes to systemic racism, one of those things that impacts us is economic justice and economic opportunity. And so this challenge gives us an opportunity for those of you out there who have ideas, who have been thinking about starting your own business, we have a limited amount of states that we're launching in, so make sure you pay attention to that if you want to sign up. But this is something we wanted to do as an organization and as a Black Women's Roundtable to be part of the solution. We know Black women, we are the heads of household in most of our families. And so sometimes we need to make extra money. Sometimes we want to start our own business. So we wanted to do our part as a part of economic justice and opportunity by having this challenge. And who knew that we'd be having to deal with this in such a time as this? So I'd like to first call on Alba with the Coca-Cola Company to give us her greetings. Alba, are you ready?
I am ready. Thank you, Melanie, and good morning to all. We are so grateful for your extraordinary work to amplify Black voices in the nation's conversation, and Melanie, especially for your current efforts to encourage the entrepreneurial energy of Black women. We at Coca-Cola are very proud to be a sponsor of the Black Women's Roundtable, and especially to partner with you on this empowerment journey through our 5x20 initiative. So let me tell the audience a little bit about 5x20. Back in 2010, our former chairman, Muhtar Kent, made a commitment, a global commitment to economically empower 5 million women by 2020. And why? Because women around the world have long been important contributors to the Coca-Cola system, and we all know that women face significant barriers to realize their economic empowerment. We also seen many studies that show the economic empowerment of women. When they are economically empowered, it has a positive multiplier effect on the nutrition, health, and education of families. And when women are included as part of the conversation, when they have access to economic empowerment, we know that the economy propels growth and prosperity. So how do we do these programs? We partner with governments and leaders like Melanie to address the specific business barriers to success that women entrepreneurs face. These programs meet all women where they are, in their communities, in businesses, and online, and provide enabling activities that include business skills training, financial services, and peer-to-peer networking. So let's go to the next slide because I want to share what we are doing online and a couple of resources that I think would be beneficial to all. This is the new digital hub You can find this on our company website. And this hub has access to all the learning tools, the webinars, and many events that are available around the country, as well as the partners such as Melanie's organization, the Action Network. We also partner with Odyssey Media to ensure that the tools, the learnings, and all the resources are evergreen and can be accessed by all the women that want to take advantage of that. So Melanie, I want to close by thanking you for all you do and asking the audience to please, please, please share these resources, the digital tools, with everyone you know. And ladies, let's take it to the top. Thank you.
All right, I am going to invite Melanie to unmute.
Alba, thank you so very much. And I want to make sure that I formally introduce you so everybody knows, because I didn't say it and you didn't say it. So I'm going to say it. Alba Baylor is the Vice President. I'm going to take that. Community and Stakeholder Relations, the Coca-Cola Company. And Coca-Cola Company is near and dear to my heart personally, because I cut my teeth in Atlanta, Georgia. And so everywhere we went, I went to school at the Atlanta University in the Clark, Atlanta. Now was Clark College. And so I just thank you and your team, because with you all, it's not just a partnership, it's a relationship, and relationships matter. And I thank you so very much, you and your team. So thank you, Alba. So next we will hear from Donna Epps, who is the Vice President for with Verizon. And Donna, take it over.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. Let me first thank the National Coalition and the Black Women's Roundtable for hosting today's important conversation. And I also want to, of course, thank the visionary in our virtual house, Melanie Campbell, for her tireless leadership during this really challenging time in our country. So today's conversation is so timely and so critical as we think about how do we rebuild our economy, stimulate our economy. We absolutely, post-COVID-19, we absolutely need to be thinking about how do we make sure that Black women entrepreneurs come out on the other side of this crisis, and that they come out whole, and that they come out well-equipped to succeed? And more importantly, what do we all need to do to work collectively to support them? So first of all, we know that Black women are fantastic leaders. They start businesses faster than any other racial group. But we also know that Black businesses have been hit the hardest by this pandemic. And unfortunately, we also know that Black businesses have benefited far less from the federal government stimulus funding programs for small businesses. I personally have had good friends who have struggled to stay afloat because they were shut out of the first round of government stimulus funding. And I'm sure many of you could share similar stories. So it's really time that we get serious to take action. And that's action to make sure that we have public policies in place to support Black businesses, and action to ensure that Black businesses have the critical information and resources that they need to sustain themselves. And whether you're entrepreneurs or you work at a big company like me or Alba, we all have a part to play. Fortunately, as you just heard from Alba, and I'll share a little bit as well, now more than ever, corporate America is realizing how critical it is to build on the economic infrastructure in the Black community. And of course, that means, among other things, supporting Black-owned businesses. At Verizon, like Coca-Cola, we have not been standing on the sidelines during this pandemic. Instead, we have been, and we have continued to engage on critical issues like economic empowerment by helping Black communities, because we want to make sure that all of us, not just a select few at the top, are able to move forward through this pandemic. Just last week, Verizon launched a new small business resource hub as well that brings together valuable tools, services, and advice for small businesses as they continue to navigate the impact of this pandemic. This new hub for small business resources really serves as a one-stop destination, bringing together all of Verizon's numerous COVID-19 small business relief programs and vital information to help small businesses thrive. One interesting feature of this program is called the Comeback Coach. And the Comeback Coach is a content-led initiative that pairs selected small businesses with leading small business influencers. The program features one-on-one coaching, helping these businesses overcome some of the unique challenges caused by the pandemic. We're going to capture this mentorship program on videotape and release episodes during the month of August so that others can learn from the mentorship relationship. Additionally, through Verizon's partnership with the Local Initiative Support Corporation, Verizon has provided $7.5 million in small business grants to over 650 small businesses. But we know there's so much more work to do in our country, and we are in it for the long haul, and we'll continue to look for ways to support small businesses and particularly diverse small businesses. The good news is that we know Black women are resilient, and this is not our first tough spot. We've been in tough spots before, and we have the tenacity, the resilience, and the resourcefulness to help each other and to rise to the occasion as we have so many times in the past. Before I close, I do want to mention that I was so pleased to see that we have a panel of young women that we're going to hear from today. You know, as we all know, the job market is incredibly uncertain. So it is critical that we have young women striking out and starting their own businesses. We know that we stand on the shoulders of some hugely successful Black business women who succeeded against all odds. It is imperative that we instill the confidence and the know-how in our young women to take charge of their own destiny by harnessing the power of entrepreneurship. So thank you, Black Women's Roundtable, for, as usual, focusing on the next generation. So with that, I want to again thank Melanie and Black Women's Roundtable National Coalition for today's program, and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Donna. And as our Senior Vice President of Verizon, we appreciate you so very, very much. We're going to now hear a little bit more about the Black Women's Roundtable from Tanya Tyson, who is my special assistant, as well as our events manager, who will give us a little bit briefing background for those of you all who are new to the Black Women's Roundtable, to hear a little bit more about that. And then following her will be our first panel that will be led by D.C. Marshall, and I'll introduce her at that time. So Tanya, turn it over to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Tyson of the Black Women's Roundtable. I'd like to first start this off by saying thank our sponsors, Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola Company, and Verizon, and also our media partners, which is Black Enterprise, Essence, and Roland Martin Unfiltered. So for some of you that's joining today for the first time, you may ask, what is the Black Women's Roundtable? The Black Women's Roundtable is an empowerment program from the National Coalition on Black Civics Participation, a nonprofit organization that works to engage, educate, organize, and mobilize African Americans, all ages, to participate in our democracy through educational programs and leadership training. The coalition works to expand, strengthen, and empower Black communities to make voting and civic participation a cultural responsibility and tradition. You can follow us on Twitter at NCBCP_BWR. You can also join our Facebook group, which is the Black Women's Roundtable, and you can follow us on Instagram at the National Coalition. And also, to get more information about the Black Women's Roundtable, you can go to our website, www.blackwomensroundtable.org. And every month we have our Women Table Talk series, and you all are more than welcome to join there and get more information off the Black Women's Roundtable website. And thank you.
And thank you, Tanya, so much. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to our D. Marshall, and everyone do this for D. because Dee's been leading this whole effort, and we appreciate her. She is the head of Diverse and Engaged. And so we're going to turn it over to you, to Dee, to get us started on our first panel. And again, thank everyone, and thank all of our sponsors and our media partners and all of you out there who are listening to this launch today. So Dee, turn it to you.
Awesome. Well, good afternoon or good morning, everybody. Good afternoon or wherever you are. I'm excited about this panel and this entire initiative, Take It to the Top, the Entrepreneurship Challenge. And as a woman, as a business owner, as a Black woman business owner, I can appreciate this from the standpoint that who supports ideas? Right now, there are lots of initiatives that offer pitch competitions and opportunities for you to get funding and to get support or sponsors or a loan if you have an established business. But when you talk about impactful and, you know, what Coca-Cola, what Alba shared and what Donna shared about their commitment to our communities, I think it's powerful that we would be here because they're saying we'll invest in your idea. If you have an idea for a business, Melanie Campbell led, and this is her brainchild, but Coca-Cola and Verizon got behind it and said, yes, we want to fund women entrepreneurs. We believe in their ideas. We believe in what you have to contribute to the economy. We believe that you are the opportunity to create impact in terms of jobs. And so know that this challenge is like no other in that all you need is an idea for your business. Everybody say idea or hashtag idea, hashtag ideapreneur. If you have an idea, you don't have the resources, you might be overwhelmed in this season, then this Take It to the Top Entrepreneurship Challenge is for you. Why? Because our economy is counting on us. Listen, Black women are the largest and fastest growing segment of entrepreneurs. And this is why this challenge is investing so much in, and I'm going to say an underserved community of entrepreneurs. And that is those of you with the idea, you're working on this business plan, but you're not there yet. That's what today is about. And so we're going to move into a panel, and we've assembled, I think, an amazing panel, a corporate executive on this panel, as well as Black enterprise on the panel, but not just Black enterprise. These are the women behind these big brands. So when I bring in Felicia, that's a woman behind a big brand who has a heart. And allow them to inspire us and inspire you, girl, whatever the idea is. Melanie Campbell, the National Coalition, Black Women's Roundtable is here for you. Donna Epps at Verizon is here for you. Alba Balin is here for you. Felicia Watson is here for you. Black Enterprise is here for you. We are here for you during this season, and we're excited about your dream. So that said, let me just introduce really briefly, and then I'm going to have them introduce themselves and tell you how amazing they are. But first, we have Felicia Watson. Of course, she is with the Coca-Cola Company. I'm going to have her come in and share, as well as we're going to have Elisa Gums from Black Enterprise Magazine, as well as the founder of the Sisters Inc. podcast. I don't know if you have been following that, but it's for Black women entrepreneurs. We're going to have Kamika Smith, the Boss Network. For those of you who have been following her for many years, she just celebrated a 10-year anniversary. One of my babes, as well as Natalie Cofield, one of my babes. I remember when she started Walker's Legacy. And so without further ado, let's start with you, Felicia. If you could come on in and introduce yourself, and we're going to get started in this on this panel.
Good morning, Black Women's Roundtable. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to bring you greetings this morning from Atlanta, Georgia, where I serve as the Director of Community and Stakeholder Relations for Coca-Cola North America. You heard just briefly from my very competent and passionate manager, Alba Balin, and our team has the privilege of leading community partnerships with national organizations in North America. And it's our privilege to partner with Melanie Campbell, the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and the Black Women's Roundtable. Many times we as women hear the adage that either you're at the table or you're on the menu. I heard that phrase years ago and it stuck with me. And I am pleased that I work for a company and a brand that believes in Black women. They believe in empowering Black women, as you heard through our 5x20 program, but they also encourage, inspire, and support Black women inside the walls at Coca-Cola. They encourage us to have an entrepreneurial spirit, although we work for a corporation, to act like an owner. And I am privileged to do that when working with organizations like Black Women's Roundtable. So again, it's my privilege to be here. I'm really looking forward to this discussion, and let's get to it. Take it to the top.
Awesome. Elisa, if you would come in and introduce yourself.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, and Black Enterprise is so happy to partner with the Black Women's Roundtable for this event. I'm Elisa Gums, the Executive Managing Editor of Black Enterprise, and I also head up Sisters Inc., which is our franchise for and about women entrepreneurs. It includes our award-winning podcast, also called Sisters Inc., presented by Nationwide, which we launched this year. And on every episode, we talk to one CEO about the challenges of being a Black woman in business. But the flip side of that is that I think Black women are also uniquely suited for being entrepreneurs. And so I'm really excited that we're going to talk about why that is.
Awesome. Thank you. So we'll have Kamika and then followed immediately by you, Natalie.
All right, Black Women's Roundtable. Thank you so much for having me, Dee Marshall. I'm really excited to be here with all these amazing women. Again, I am the founder of the Boss Network. And for those that know my brand, we have been supporting and encouraging Black women entrepreneurs for over 10 years. We reach about 200,000 women nationally within our network. And our mission and goal really is to provide women with the resources that they need to be successful. We know that Black women are not struggling with ideas. We are creative, we are brilliant, but what we lack is mentorship and funding. And so my mission as an advocate for entrepreneurs is really to find ways to support women on that journey to success. So I'm excited to be here, looking forward to sharing my journey with you all. And thank you, Andy Marshall, and Natalie for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Kamika. Natalie?
Hi there, everybody. It's summertime, and I know we're all enjoying ourselves. As Dee just mentioned, my name is Natalie Madeira-Cofield, and I'm the founder of Walker's Legacy. Walker's Legacy is on a mission to build the largest platform for multicultural women in business. Very similar to some of our esteemed panelists, Walker's Legacy actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary this year. We're still celebrating it right now, having been founded in January of 2010. Since our founding, Walker's Legacy has trained more than 1,500 women through entrepreneurial programs. Just since COVID, Walker's Legacy has graduated nearly 150 women from programs that were multi-week or 9-week entrepreneurship accelerators, programs of that nature. We just brought on another cohort of 50 women who are joining us from across the nation, and we're super excited about the fact that we have 63 girls who are ages 12 to 17 who are going through our Girls Who Enterprise program, because it is important to us during this moment in time where we are seeing both the inflection of a conversation around racial equity, gender equity, and around economic access, that Walker's Legacy does what it needs to do to step up to ensure that we're prepared and that we have what we need. We do that through programs, we do that through content, features and profiles on women of color in success. We do that through research, which we have some exciting announcements coming about soon, which I can't make an announcement about now, but the bag is basically fully there. So we're good to go with that around COVID and its impact on us. And we also just do that through community. And so we've been very aggressively engaging around building a digital community for women to support them during this time, to make sure that they know what's available for them and what's out there as it relates to the federal government, local government, as well as other private companies and organizations that are providing support, such as the Black Women's Roundtable.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's start with you, Elisa. So again, this panel is really to inspire those of you who are watching right now, standing by. This was, again, very intentional that we had entrepreneurs here that you could see that they have history, right? 10 years in business as a Black woman. And then you could see those who are supporters of Black women, because we need to be both in the corporations and have positions at the big brands. And then we need to be on the other side creating opportunities. So let's start with you, Elisa. So tell us about your work commitment to women and entrepreneurship. We'd love to hear a little bit about that and what made you launch the Sisters Inc. brand, because I believe that was probably your idea within a larger, that's how these things happen. This is about ideas. In fact, we could even do a sidebar and have a conversation about ideapreneurs in larger corporations, but maybe that will be another segment, because we want entrepreneurs to step up here and to launch out on their own brand outside of their brand so they can create opportunities. So talk to us about the Sisters Inc. Brand.
Sure. Well, I can't take credit for the Sisters Inc. brand. We did what Black women do really well, which is listen. And we listened to what Black women said they wanted from us. And that was Sisters Inc. is a response to that. We've had an entrepreneur summit for 25 years. And the women at the summit said, this is great, but we really want something for ourselves. We want something that is dedicated to us, that talks to us, that, answers our issues and our concerns. And that's how the Sisters Inc. franchise started. The podcast was my idea, and it came about because the stories of Black women entrepreneurs fascinate me. Entrepreneurship is difficult for everyone. No one has an easy path. And they're like a built-in novel. There's ups and downs and twists and turns. But as the Black women that I talk to every week say to me all the time, we are built for this. Mm-hmm. We are doers, we are fixers, we are resourceful. As someone already said, we get stuff done. And so the leap for entrepreneurship for us is really about learning how to go from that idea, which you talk about so eloquently, Dee, because so many of us have ideas that are born out of necessity, that are born out of our personal frustration, or the urge to become an entrepreneur because it's really about taking power over your lives. I spoke to one entrepreneur who went into business for herself straight out of high school because she has a medical condition. She has lupus, and she said she knew she needed to be able to set her own hours, determine how many hours she was going to work. I spoke to one entrepreneur who was fired when she was 8 months pregnant, and she got down on her knees and begged for her job and still got fired, and decided that she was never again going to put that power in someone else's hands to determine her livelihood or how she was going to take care of her family. And so Black women come to entrepreneurship for so many reasons, but we're not lacking for the ideas. It is just the need for the resources to get us from idea to business, like you said. And that story is what the podcast is all about, women telling in their own words how they overcome those challenges.
Awesome. So thank you for that. I hate to hear those stories, but I think everything is purposeful and nothing will be wasted. And that's why we have this platform, so that people will know. Sometimes you all make it look so, I'm going to say fabulous. People don't know the struggle, but it is worth it. I see Natalie is smiling, and Kamika, look, people don't know the struggle behind the back end, but it's worth it for us to, Elisa, to your point, like to just be in charge of our own financial freedom and to be in charge of our own, ability to provide for ourselves, to provide jobs, and to provide for our communities. So if it's going to be a battle or a fight with entrepreneurship or in business anyway, or in work anyway, it should be for our own in some instances. So thank you for those two stories of the 8th month. I'll never forget an 8-month pregnant begging for her job on her knees. Are you serious?
Literally got on her knees and begged for her job.
Okay, shameless plug here. We are going to post up Elisa's podcast, Sisters Inc. If you are not already plugged into her podcast, that's probably where we could hear some of these stories. So thank you so much. I'm going to go to Kamika. Can you start, Kamika? Can you tell us a little bit about your idea for the Boss Network and how did you step out on the idea? If you're thinking about the women who are watching right now who have an idea. You don't want to know Kamika have arrived at year 10. Natalie, we don't want to know the 10-year. Y'all are doing well now. But when you started with that idea, can you just talk a little bit about what made you launch and how did you get over from idea to I'm doing this?
Absolutely, Dee. And it's so interesting. I definitely resonated with what Alyssa was talking about with that young lady. Of course, I wasn't pregnant during that time, but I actually was laid off of my job back in 2009. And so, I know right now, because we're dealing with two different pandemics, right? We have COVID-19 and, the racial injustices in our country. And so Black women are definitely in a tough position, but we're resilient. And that's what I love about us. So I remember, back in 2009, that was a recession that we were going through. And I knew I was going to get laid off because at the time I was an administrator for Chicago Public Schools and they had laid off 2,500 people the year prior. You all remember 2008, 2009 at that time. And so I just did what I felt like was important for me, which was planning my exit strategy. I was like, okay, I know that, my time is coming. I need to start planning what's my next step. And entrepreneurship had always been something that was a part of my DNA. I had started an event marketing company about 5 years prior to. And so I just said to myself, you know what, if you're going to get laid off, take this opportunity, take this time to really think about what you want to do next. And for me, entrepreneurship was that thing. And so I really just started to plan. I started to really strategize on what I wanted to do to grow my business, how I wanted to grow my business. I started to talk to different people who I knew had successful businesses because for myself, I was a first generation entrepreneur. No one in my family had a business. I didn't really have friends that had successful businesses. Everybody had their little hustle or their hobbies. But I knew that if I was going to do this full time and try to replace my, income from my career, that I had to really make sure that this thing could be successful. And so I just enlisted, mentors, people that I knew that knew other entrepreneurs. And I asked, for conversations, talking to them about how they became successful. And so as I stepped out on that idea, I was able to put a plan in place because I had people who started to give me strategy on how to be successful, how to choose, incorporation or LLC, how to look for resources like, SCORES or the Women's Business Development Center or the YWCA or the Small Business Association that offered free resources for entrepreneurs who were stepping out. And so I really just took everything that I had. And then I also did a lot of research. Dee, I think that we live in a day and age right now where we have access to, the internet, which gives us so much information that we can do just about anything that we want. And so I really decided that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to equip myself with as much information and make sure that I'm creating something that was of excellence. And so that's how I actually started out and stepped out. But on that journey to building my event company, I saw that there was this huge need for women like myself who wanted to figure out how to start and grow businesses. So something in me said, you know what, this just isn't about me and my journey as an entrepreneur, but there's so many other women that look like me that want to know how to do this as well. And so the educator in me kicked in and I decided to create an event series for Black women entrepreneurs. And I called it BOSS, which is an acronym and stands for Bringing Out Successful Sisters, because that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a conversation with young women like myself who were serious about growing and creating a future and a legacy. And so launching that event series really opened up so many doors because these women were flocking to these events. This was 10 years ago, so a lot of the stuff that we see now wasn't happening. And so women were coming to the events and were saying, how can we join BOSS? And so, of course, the entrepreneur in me said, you know what? If this is what these women want, let me figure out a way to create something for them. So I launched the digital platform, thebossnetwork.org. And I made sure that I created a space where not only we could come together and find community to talk about our issues and our struggles as entrepreneurs, but also providing resources, having experts in business to provide webinars and content around, ideation, starting and also scaling a business. And so 10 years later, we've been listed in Forbes magazine as one of the top 10 websites for women. Inc. magazine, Black Enterprise has been a huge supporter of. I've spoken at many of their conferences. And so having that validation and that support is what really helped push me. But I will say, it was really the community of women that I still have to this day, like you, D. Marshall, who kind of keeps me going and growing. And so we know that, Black women are starting businesses at at the fastest growing rate. But at the same time, a lot of the needs that we had 10 years ago are still in place. And so I just want to encourage women, if you're starting a business in this season, or if you have a business and you're trying to grow, there is hope. There's lots of resources, like the Boss Network, like Walker's Legacy, like the Black Women's Roundtable. And so don't feel like you're alone, because you have support.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Kamika. And before we go over to Natalie, a shameless plug. Actually, it's not shameless. I will say Melanie Campbell, by design and with the support of the sponsor, said, she's all for, let's bring in even additional resources. So while BWR is, I'm going to say, one of the most powerful networks for women, some of the baddest Black women on the planet, because, they're professional women, members of Congress, as well as media influencers, as well as social activists, all respond to Melanie, and she's a powerful gatekeeper of our community. But she said, who else can we pull in that offers resources while she's building out her own and while she already has it? And so I think it was important for me to say that, because if you're watching and you're thinking, well, Kamika is already doing it, how do I jump in? Or, or Natalie is already doing what she's doing. If you're watching here today, there's space for everybody. There's room for everybody. And to think any other way would be thinking from the spirit of lack. And we want you to think about abundance, that women all over the globe, the planet, are rooting for you. And so the Boss Network is a resource. Walker's Legacy is a resource. So I'm going to turn to you, Natalie, and in brief, tell us about your idea for Walker's Legacy. How did you step out on the idea? What support did you have? What the support, that you needed to step in fully to your vision?
So first, I just want to give a shout out to Kamika, because we both have been in this space, and I have so much respect for what she's built. We've kind of both been in different parts of the country doing our thing and watching each other from afar, and really championing each other's work, because as you mentioned, Dee, there is the need for so many of us to be out here doing it. My experience. So I grew up in a family where my mom had me reading business plans when I was 11 years old. I hated to do it, but I realized that in doing that, I was learning how to write a business plan, how to start a business. Entrepreneurship was something that my mom was very much so interested in, actively pursuing, and creating this business here and that business there. So I would say I was honestly pretty much predisposed to it. However, ironically, when I was at Howard University, I got the only D I ever got in a class was in the entrepreneurship class, which is the irony of all of this. And I will say it was because my business plan was so good that they were like, wait, did you write this? And I really did write it. And it was because, again, I had so much experience doing it before. So I got my D. But here we are, right? And so I started working in entrepreneurship ecosystem development, working for economic development organizations. And I got to a point where I was working at one organization, and I was 24 years old, had just been in Ebony, and they just, done their top 30 under 30 across the country. And I really was like, man, I think I can run this place. I mean, I had built a $100,000 business plan competition. I was writing a book about entrepreneurship for the organization. I had a TV show that came on. And I just really was like, I feel like I could do this. But I knew that it wasn't going to happen for me anytime soon because of hierarchy, because of my age, because of gender bias, all of those things. And so I decided to leave. I left, and I decided to start my own company. My first contract came to me because I was willing to work for free. And so I always tell people, you know, I had been doing all these things. I'd worked for this mayor, that mayor, done this, done that. And, you know, I was, you know, feeling myself a little bit with my resume, but you got to pledge, and you got to pledge for entrepreneurship. This is not a situation where you go in, the year that you start is like the year that you're buying a new house. Nope, that's not how this works. And I pitched them again. And they were like, okay, well, you know, basically, like, she's still here, so let's just give her something. And I'm like, listen, why don't you just try my services, okay? Just try me out, okay? So they tried my services, and that ended up resulting in me actually writing a book for the Congressional Black Caucus called The Pursuit of Entrepreneurship, a guide for African-American entrepreneurs, and establishing a 3-part entrepreneurship series for them, because entrepreneurship was not really at the forefront of so much of the CBC conversation, you know, more than 10 years ago. And so as I was going through these experiences and gaining these clients, and I realized that I was always being propositioned when I would have my business meetings. And I'm not saying CBC propositioned me. I'm just saying I was being propositioned a lot of times, going through the whole navigation of how you get this work and how you do that. And I remember coming home one day from a very important meeting that I literally thought was going to change my life and change the trajectory of my business. And the entire time I was being propositioned to go to someone's beach house. And I was crying when I got home. And my friend said, well, Natalie, you know, who's your female mentor? You know, and I didn't have one. So I decided to email women that I wanted to be like, and nobody responded to me. And I know now that mentorship is an intimate experience. It's that me sharing my life with you, and you taking that and sharing your life with me. So it's hard to do that when you've never really met someone, or you're not sure how to trust them or engage with them. So I said, well, listen, maybe if I put this platform together to bring powerful women that I'm interested in hearing from myself, while people were actually simultaneously asking me for assistance on how to build their business plans, that, you know, I was getting info from my mom about the, you know, the whole circle of women's influence that was revolving around me. Maybe they'll spend some time with me. So we begged, you know, our first 30 women in a room to be with us. And now Walker's Legacy is in 15 cities with a network of more than 60,000 multicultural women in business across the country, and has been working to support and empower those women. Now, I will tell you this, since you asked me about the truth of this journey, there have been many years where Walker's Legacy has been a labor of love, where I was making no profit from the work of Walker's Legacy. I was investing in my concept, and I was investing in that work. And it came at great financial sacrifice to me. It came at great opportunity sacrifice to me. So, you know, they say it takes 10 years to make an overnight celebrity. And sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, Natalie, I know you just started that thing. I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't. We've been doing this for 10 years. Isn't that right, Kamika? Where you been? But I'm glad that you're now hearing about us, you know, but that's part of what happens, right? It's like that example where the guy is like chopping away at a mountain, and he's this close to the diamond. And it's either you keep chopping away at it, or you stop and you don't realize that you were that close to the diamond. And so many of us are really right there with our efforts exploding. There would be a time when I would say Walker's Legacy to people, and if they knew about it, I would literally get teary-eyed, because I was like, oh my God, people have heard of this thing, what? And now I mean, I still get emotional about it, but I'm so much more like, wow, you know, we built something that people are hearing about because of its impact and its work. And so, you know, I just say, be comfortable being broke. Let's talk about it. Be comfortable being broke. There have been many a year. Like I post on my Facebook or my Instagram, I have never owned a pair of Louboutin. I will one day, but I have never owned one. And we have to make more strategic decisions about how we use our finances and our funding, particularly during a time like we have right now. Kamika and I started our businesses in the height of recession. We are in the middle of a recession and potentially depression right now. This is the time to stack the coins. And as Nellie Galan would say, buy the business, buy the building, not the shoe.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Natalie. I appreciate it. With that, I'm going to go over to Felicia, because you know, I want to make up for time. And then we have another panel, our Girlpreneur panel, coming up, and I want to be respectful of time. And then we have this video that we have to share because we want folks to understand about the challenge. And then if you're here, can you post on social media, share, please start your own watch party where you are, and follow NCBCP_BWR if you can now. Everywhere online, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, NCBCP_BWR. That stands for National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and the Black Women's Roundtable. You must connect with the Black Women's Roundtable. I promise you, most powerful Black women on the planet are there. So we're going to go to Felicia, and then we're going to show the video. So we need everybody to sit tight, because we do have that queued up for you. We are grateful for our technology. So Felicia, can you talk now a little bit about, I mean, you shared initially, but the commitment at Coca-Cola and, you know, the commitment that you all have made, and then how that really feeds into your passion and why it is important for the community and for women to, you know, believe in their ideas, why it's important for them to step out, and what people should know about this 5x20, what else people should know about 5x20, and you all's commitment.
Great. Thank you so much, Dee. I'm inspired by you all. I have the opportunity to see you and meet you when we travel. You all know that we travel to different events or organizations and we see each other all the time. That says something to me, that we're in the right place. And the Coca-Cola Company understands that for us to succeed as a nation, as a community, and as a business, we are a business, a for-profit business, that we have to promote, uplift, and support opportunities for Black entrepreneurial women. And some people, like you said earlier, Dee, don't necessarily understand the connection between corporation and entrepreneurs, and those, we meet a lot of women who start nonprofits. I mean, we spend a lot of time with women who start nonprofits. All of that work matters because the Coca-Cola Company's mission is to refresh the world and make a difference. And we can't do that on our own. And we know that we provide opportunities. If we support a Nellie Galan, who is one of our 5x20 presenters, who we've been in the room many times and heard her say, buy the building and not the shoes. Yep. We support Nellie Galan. We support Linda Spradley Dunn and Odyssey Business Network to provide opportunities for Black women to gather, because you all know when the women gather, ideas are born, businesses are supported, business cards are exchanged, and commitments to each other happen. And when we do that, our communities are better. And so when you're making the decision to start a business, to grow a business, to develop a business, think about corporations who can help you. Now, I'll be honest and say that we are in a time right now. Melanie mentioned the pandemic that is the result of over 400 years of social injustice towards Black people. Corporations have taken a deep look inside. We're talking about what we're going to do for communities externally, but we're also having some very tough internal discussions about what does the Coca-Cola Company look like inside. And my sisters, I want to tell you that Black women inside the walls of Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola Company, are fighting every day to make sure that we're represented, that we're paid what we're worth, that our voice is heard, and that we're at the table and not on the menu. So when you think of corporations on your entrepreneurial journey, think also of the Black women who are in the corporations at the table making the decisions of the programs we'll support, the platforms we'll be on. And so there is relevance. And I'm just grateful you allowed us to be here and support your efforts. But we're definitely in this together.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Felicia. And such an important part. And I know if it weren't for women like you and Donna and Alba holding those seats to take our calls, to see our work, and then to be our executive sponsor internally, like Elisa did. She went to She went to the chiefs at Black Enterprise and said, yep, we should support that. So we know, and we're ever so grateful, we know that there is an ecosystem that we live in, and that helps to fuel our economy and to take care of our communities. So we're grateful. And that's why we need some of us on the inside and some of us on the other side. If it weren't for you and Donna and Alba and Alyssa, we would not. I know myself, Kamika, Natalie, we partner. We are of the privileged few that I think could say we have direct funding and support. My clients are corporate Fortune 10, and then I get to work with yummy, amazing nonprofit giant leaders like Melanie Campbell. So we're clear in terms of where our support comes from. And so I want to do this. We're going to show the video and wrap. But Alyssa, we need this one point from you that we skipped over. And that is, if you could just draw the connection between entrepreneurship and wealth, then I think we need that to tie it up. And then we're going to roll video, because
Absolutely.
women know connected to your net worth and your wealth. So there you go.
And I think that most of us understand it on a personal level. I think every woman understands that, putting the power in her own hands to make her own money and take care of her family changes the equation for herself, her children, her parents, all the rest of the people in the family that she supports. And hopefully we get to the point where we're doing generational wealth. But we also know that it affects the entire community. Someone once said, if you want to help the community, invest in Black women, because Black women are going to take that money and they're going to turn it around. And whether you're talking about building businesses where they are employing other Black women as professionals and developing them and sustaining jobs, or partnering with other Black women businesses with supplier diversity programs, or whether it's their support in the community with philanthropy through scholarships, through church donations, that money that goes into Black businesses and Black women-owned businesses in particular is really at the core of changing the equation for economic justice and the wealth gap in this country.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I think if our production team is ready, we're going to roll video, and then we're going to wrap the panel and move into the next. But if everybody could sit tight, and production, nobody chat, nobody do anything. We're going to try to roll video now.
The Black Women's Roundtable is launching its Take It to the Top Entrepreneurship Challenge for minority girlpreneurs, current HBCU enrolled students, and community-based entrepreneurs. Take It to the Top is a Shark Tank-style challenge on college university campuses and other community-based locations. The disparity between minority and non-minority women is increasing by wide margins. In 2019, the average revenue minority woman-owned business, excluding Asian American women, was $65,800. In comparison to the average revenue of $218,800 for non-minority women-owned businesses in 2019. This disparity has an enormous effect on the U.S. economy. 4 million new jobs and $981 billion in revenue could be added if average revenue of minority women-owned firms matched that of white women-owned businesses. So, the Black Women's Roundtable is looking for you if you have an idea or you are pre-venture. We are looking for collegiate, that can be individual or group, community, or girlpreneurs, groups targeting 16 to 17-year-olds, for a chance to become top challenge winners who will receive prizes ranging from $1,000 to $10,000 at the state level. Top challenge winners can advance to qualify for the $25,000 top national grand prize and be recognized by the National Coalition in Black Civic Participation and the Black Women's Roundtable during National Entrepreneurship Month, November 2020, with an opportunity to qualify for the grand prize. To be eligible, you must be a resident of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Mississippi, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, D.C., Maryland, or Virginia. Thank you to Coca-Cola, and for more information on the Black Women's Roundtable Challenge, please visit www.blackwomensroundtable.org.
All right. And so there we have it. And so we're going to close out this panel, and I'm going to ask you all to finish this sentence, speaking directly to Black women and girls who are gathered here right now, and they are interested in joining the challenge. Dear Black woman, Black girl, take it to the top because. So we'll start with you, Natalie, if you could finish the sentence. Dear Black woman, Black girl, you should take it to the top because.
our ancestors would have expected you to.
Wow. Kamika, dear Black woman, Black girl, you must take it to the top because.
Oh, wow. Because the world needs your brilliance to show what's possible when you dream big.
Dear Black woman, Black girl, Alyssa, take it to the top because.
You deserve to live your dreams.
Wow. Felicia, dear Black woman, Black girl, take it to the top because.
Someone has to do it. It might as well be you.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you, everybody, for this, our first panel. I want to thank you, Felicia, Alyssa, Kamika, Natalie. Thank you so much. All of these women, for all of you watching on Essence, if you're watching on Roland Martin Unfiltered right now, they are all available online as well as within our community. And so we're asking you to continue to follow NCBCP, BWR. Stay right here. We're going to shift into the next panel, and it is our Girlpreneur panel. So please don't leave us, but we want you to hear, we have an amazing panel lined up. Let's see, I'm going to bring in Michelle, the indie mom of comedy. She is going to facilitate, and then we are going to close out after the panel. We will also
Dee,
oh yes,
before you do that, can we give Dee Marshall and our first panel just a wave and clap for that awesome panel? And then I'm gonna turn it back over to you. I just think we need to pause for a moment and say thank you, ladies, for that awesome conversation, and for taking the time out today and just being the brilliant what we call in the Black Women's Roundtable, sisters that you are. So turn it back over to you, Dee.
Awesome. So
introduce our next.
For Michelle, we're going to gear up for Michelle. And then again, we just invite you to online right now, follow, and we are officially open for our Take It to the Top challenge. The challenge window ends on August 30th of this year, and our first challenge round begins on September 1, and it'll conclude on September 30th. Our second round, which you'll learn more about, we're doing something specifically for HBCUs as they begin to transition differently. But all of the information is on the Black Women's Roundtable.org site. There's a place where you can click a link and watch the video that if you saw the video, great. If you did not, it's on the website. And there's a button that you could click and it says for more information. And there will take you to the entry details to apply for the challenge. That is powered by Verizon. It is powered by Coca-Cola 5x20. And we are now grateful to have Black Enterprise as a media partner and an opportunity for you all to even be featured if you think about that. So Michelle, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hello, ladies. Good morning. Second half. I think it's good afternoon now, correct? Good afternoon. First things first, let's just again, thank you to all the amazing panelists from our first panel. We are so grateful for your time with us. You can't go anywhere else but come to the Black Women's Roundtable to meet senior VPs and major managers of major corporations that will sit and have a conversation with you from their personal space. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who came on board. I'm excited to talk briefly and quickly and swiftly, but candidly about girlpreneurs and ideas. And I am so excited to have these three amazing women and this amazing young flower of a girl with us today. I want to take a moment just to get them to introduce themselves, just a 30-second intro. I'm going to start with you, Miss Kim Roxy. Kim Roxy, tell us about you. You're of LaMique Beauty. Tell us a little more, just a quick 30-second intro. Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Roxy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Roxy, as Michelle has said, and I'm the founder of LaMique Beauty. LaMique is a clean, non-toxic color cosmetic line. I have it on today. All the ladies on here saw me prepping. Cosmetic line that we actually manufacture in Houston, Texas. And I'm excited to be a part of this conversation. And we also have sustainable practices that we do, but we're making sure that beauty products, 75% that are marketed to women of color are toxic. and we're here to eradicate that.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you, Kim Roxy. And then next, I want to have our next panelist introduce herself, 30 seconds. Can we have Miss Viviana Johnson of Black Orchid Soaps? Can we have Miss Viviana Johnson, who is 13 years old, a rising ninth grader? Can she please introduce herself?
So hi, my name is Viviana Johnson. I'm 13 years old, and I just graduated my Washington Middle School. I'm going to high school in the fall, and the name of my business is Black Orchid Soaps.
So good to meet you, Viviana Johnson. And now we will have our final panelist. We want to introduce her, have her introduce herself as well. She is the founder and CEO of Studio A Modeling and Etiquette. Let me bring in Miss Adrienne Watson Carver. Adrienne.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. Again, my name is Adrienne Watson Carver. Everybody calls me Miss A. I am the owner and executive director of Studio A Modeling, Etiquette, and Dance Academy, a place where we're developing character, confidence, charm, and charisma in every young person that walks through our doors. Our goal is to develop a whole new generation of young female leaders that will grow up and change the world. We do that not only through dance, but also through modeling, etiquette, the performing arts. We also have a 100 Girls Summer Camp. We have a nonprofit arm called the Studio A Scholarship Cotillion Botillion that has awarded almost $400,000 in scholarships over the past 16 years to young people in our community. And we are just excited that God is using us to change the lives of so many young people who I know are going to grow up, who have already, many of them have already grown up to start their own businesses and to change the world as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Outstanding. So these are our Girlpreneur panelists. And the reason why I just saw fit to pull in young, beautiful women like Miss Adrienne, Miss A, and Kim is because these women had ideas very young. And we're going to talk about that briefly. So I'm going to jump in with you, Kim. Tell us about your work and the commitment that Lamique Beauty has made to women and girls. Tell us about that and why it's important for the business community and women to believe in the idea and go for it. Tell us about that, Kim.
Yeah, it's so important. I have to start with a little story. When I initially had my entrepreneur idea, I was graduating, as Miss Melanie talked about before, our queen, Clark Atlanta University. I was a senior in college, and I had this idea about opening up this makeup shop. And I was 21. And when I went to the mall to go get a lease to open up a store for this makeup shop, the leasing agent would not lease to me. They were like, "You are a kid. No way. How old are you?" And I was like, "I'm 21, but I have my first month's rent. Like, I'm ready to go." And she said, "You know what?" She's like, "We cannot lease to you. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think your business idea is going to work." And I wouldn't leave her office because that wasn't a good enough reason to tell me no. And she went and got the owner of the mall and was like, "Look, I have this young lady in here. She will not leave, talking about this makeup shop she wants to open." And he ended up saying, "You know what? Go ahead, give her a chance." And he called me a kiddo. We'll give this kiddo a chance. And so that, that experience inspired me then to help other young women who were coming, because I know that we talk about a gender disparity, but sometimes we have to talk about this ageism that happens. Even at a young age, like Viviana with her business, we got to take her serious. She knows what she's doing, right? And so that's what I feel like I'm here to do. So starting my business at a young age, I understood some of those barriers that you could come up against, and that perseverance and that idea that you're going to keep going no matter what is so critical. At Lamique, we're doing things like, I actually just co-authored a workbook called Makeup, Mental Health, and Me with a 16-year-old entrepreneur. Her name is Lauren Alexander. And we co-authored this book together to help with mental health, because I noticed that with makeup can actually be therapy. Makeup can be very therapeutic. Also, too, I noticed that makeup a lot of times brings out a lot of girls' insecurities. And so how do we sort of, what's the answer to that? What's the solution? So at Lamique, we have this workshop that I do every Sunday with girls ages 13 to 23, where we talk about makeup and mental health. And then also, my mother actually passed away from metastatic breast cancer. And here in Houston, I have, for the past 5 years, raised close to $400,000 for uninsured African-American women to get mammograms. So there is a lot of work that we're doing around, for me, it's about, I talked earlier about ingredients and what's inside of makeup. And then also I want to talk about what's inside the images of makeup. And that's a lot of times where I deal with the girls. So we marry both of those. And that's a lot of the work that we're doing at Lamique. It's very pivotal to our community. A lot of times, we're looking saying who's going to come save us? And the answer is us. And so I believe that in beauty, we've seen it done before. The first, millionaire was Madam C.J. Walker, right, in this country. And that was around a beauty company. And that's why I love Natalie and Walker's legacy. And, you talk about that when we look at that we're standing on the shoulders of her, that we know that beauty can be the answer to our wealth. And so I'm just excited to, be in this business and have the opportunity to influence girls like we do, but then also to help us to close in that wealth gap in this industry.
Before you leave, Kim, I'm going to move on to Viviana. Kim, what should girls know about True Beauty? Because you talk about that. What should they know about True Beauty?
So Lamique, the company actually is an acronym that stands for Love and Makeup and Kindness. Kind of like the Boss Network that has like that acronym that has a true meaning behind it. And that's the meaning of beauty. Love and makeup and kindness. Love and kindness is your true makeup because beauty is revealed, not applied. I want you to tweet that. I want you to remember that. That's your affirmation in the morning. Beauty is revealed, not applied. That means that everything, all the beauty is already inside of you. All you're doing every day with your love and kindness is just revealing that and making your mark on the world.
I love it. Beauty is revealed and not applied. I love it. Thank you so much, Kim. We're going to move on to Miss Viviana Johnson. So Viviana, and I call you Vivi. Vivi, tell us how you came up with the idea for Black Orchid soap and who or what was your inspiration? And tell us about the name too.
Okay, so I've always been a very creative person ever since I was younger. And I always asked my mom if I could start my own business. And she'd always say, when the time is right, because you don't want to just start a business and not know what to do and have no idea what you're doing. So eventually she did say yes. And it was actually between soaps, bath bombs, or bath salts. And we chose soaps because practically everyone uses soap on a daily basis. And we wanted to make an all-natural organic soap that everyone could use and that's healthy for your skin. And that's how we came up with Black Orchid soaps. And the name actually came from, my mom, basically, because my mom's from Belize. She was born and raised there. And the Black Orchid is the national flower for Belize. And I want to incorporate Belize, because that's my heritage, into my soaps. So that's how we came up with the name Black Orchid, because it's the flower of Belize. And it's all because of my mom, because my mom's a very creative person also. She's always making all natural stuff like bath butter, bath and body butter, deodorants. And because of her, this is how I started my business, because she bought my first ingredients for the soap and she's the one who helped me start this.
That is so awesome. And I love so much, Viviana, that you unapologetically want to celebrate your mom's heritage and legacy and ethnic identity by being a Belizean woman. And it's so wonderful to hear how organic your entrepreneurial idea came from watching your own mom create. So Vivi, before you go, I want to ask you, what would you tell another young girl about starting a business? Like if you could give another young girl advice, what would you tell them?
I would say do a lot of research, and I would say just believe in yourself, because it's okay if you don't get it the first time. But if you keep trying, you'll get it soon. And then you might start this whole empire of whatever you're creating.
I love it. I love it, Viviana. I'm so proud of you and so excited for Black Orchid soaps. And I want people to follow your soaps. So you guys see these beautiful pictures. They're handmade soaps. Viviana, you're making those soaps at home, correct?
Yes.
They're handmade soaps at home, and it's beautiful, all of the designs that are on the soap. So when you get a chance, go check out her soaps at Black Orchids Soap Team. You can follow her. And then lastly, I want to talk to you, Ms. Watson Carver. Tell us about your idea for Studio A. When did you have, was this a young girl idea? Was this a girlpreneur idea? And if so, tell us about it. And how did you step out on that idea? You know, I've known you forever, but I've known you to be so many things. But I want to know, how did you step out on creating a modeling, etiquette, and dance studio academy? Tell us about it.
Well, I totally and truly believe in the power of mentorship. I had a phenomenal mentor who owned a charm studio. As a young girl, I had an older cousin who was also pretty much a big sister and mentor to me, and she encouraged me to get into a pageant. And I didn't know that this pageant, it was the Hal Jackson Talented Teen Maryland pageant. Hal Jackson is a phenomenal leader in the music business for Black girls and Black women and singers and performers. And so Hal had a vision to cultivate and groom the talent of young girls. So I got in this pageant, and I didn't win. I didn't make top 5. I just was in it. I was a finalist, and I was excited and happy, and I loved it. But the lady who was over it, her name is Piney Ross. She's from Columbia, Maryland. She became my mentor, and she brought me on her staff so that she could teach me everything she knew about mentoring and grooming and helping young girls to walk with poise and grace, to speak with confidence, to be articulate and strong. And she kept saying, "You will." If I would say, "I would like to," "No, Adrian, you will." If I would say, "I have an idea," and she would say, "You will." And so that just really resonated with me. So I kept saying, when I grow up, I'm going to have some young ladies who I'm going to groom, and I'm going to teach them, you will become, I will achieve, I will do this. And so that's really how the vision came. Now, I stepped out on faith with it because I had been teaching it at churches and community centers. And when I got married, believe it or not, my husband was like, I know you think you have a really good job where you're working, but I really think that this whole modeling, etiquette, and dance thing, you could just do that. You really shouldn't be doing anything else. And he was like, and so whenever you're ready, to go ahead and do this thing, I'm 110% behind you. And so I looked at him because I need my job and my insurance. And I was like, okay. So I started it a little bit, and I went to work. I was working in the school system and doing my business, and I could not stand my job. I did not like it. I loved my work, but my supervisor, she was an older white woman, and she just kept telling me that I was overconfident and I thought I was all that and things like that. And I wasn't used to that because I didn't come up in an environment like that. I came up in an environment where I was surrounded by wonderful Black people and wonderful people who encouraged me. We encouraged each other, and it was not a spirit of envy or jealousy. So I really did not like that environment at all. And I went home and I told my husband, he said, okay, we'll go tomorrow and tell her you're never coming back and just do the studio. And I said, okay. So I went to work the next day. I told her I'm never coming back here. And that was the best decision I ever made. Studio A grew to 2 locations, over 250 students. I mean, it just took on a life of its own. I was able to hire a staff. I mean, and that was 20 years ago, this coming September. And in a nutshell, that's how that happened.
Outstanding. So as you can see, ladies, these women, and I hope the people that are watching, the participants that are chiming in, I hope you see that the reason why these women are girlpreneurs at spirit is because these ideas came in their youth. Viviana struck out at 13. Kim believed at 21 when she walked into a mall to try to get a kiosk, even though she probably looked like a baby. She believed that she had the tenacity and the ability to build a beauty company. And now, what Kim didn't share, Lamika's been in Macy's. Am I not correct, Kim?
Yes, we have. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So Lamika products went from Kim's kitchen to Macy's, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Outstanding. And Adrian went from what Adrian left out along the way. When Adrian was a young girl, she's always been dancing and performing. Adrian used to be an NFL cheerleader and dancer. And so she took all of those experiences and bottled them into what is now a modeling, etiquette, and dance academy. And also the give back, over $400,000 in scholarships over the last 20 years to girls. And so I'm just so proud of all 3 of you guys. And I want you to finish this out for me because we're going to close out. We're going to stay tight to time. And I hope you guys have appreciated. We shared good information, good content swiftly because women know how to lead from the front, the middle, and the back. So we don't have a problem doing what we need to do, okay? I want you guys to finish this statement for me. And I want to thank you for sharing just a little bit of your journey with us. And I want to thank you for being bold. Viviana, I want to thank you for being bold at 13. Kim, I want to thank you for being bold at 21. Adrian, I want to thank you for being bold. And let's just say this. I was going to ask you, how did your support show up? But wasn't it organic and beautiful? How it was her husband that said, I will get behind you. I will make sure you have what you need. And so I salute Stacey Carver, her husband, good friend, amazing artist as well, who supported her entrepreneurial girlhood dreams. I want you to finish this sentence starting with you, Viviana. Dear Black girl, take it to the top because, Viviana.
Your voice deserves to be heard and your talent deserves to shine bright.
I love it. Your voices must be heard and your talent deserves to shine bright. Outstanding, Viviana. Kim, dear Black woman, Black girl, take it to the top because
there's nobody stopping you.
I love it. I love it. Last but not least, my dear friend and sister and soror, Miss Adrian Watson Carver, dear Black woman, Black girl, take it to the top because
Black girls are everything. They are everything, and we can do anything that we put our minds to.
Outstanding. I think that says it all right there. Our girlpreneurs have now given you the final word on it. Black girls are everything and they can do anything. There's nobody to stop you. And what did you say, Viviana?
Your voice deserves to be heard and your talent deserves to shine bright.
Outstanding. So we want to thank our girlpreneur panel. We want to thank you for being a part of the Black Women's Roundtable. Let's give them a hand. Let's give them some love. Can you guys give them some love and thank them for being here today? Please support them as well. I am so proud to have been able to kind of have this conversation. Thank you, Melanie Campbell. Thank you, the Coca-Cola Company. Thank you, Verizon. Thank you, Black Enterprise. Thank you, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Essence.com. And thank you all for believing that Black women and Black girls, it's time to take it to the top. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Melanie.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Can we just do this? Clap, clap. Thank you all. This was awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you to the audience that for you bearing with us because of the technology challenges we were having today. And this is just the beginning. We know we're going to say to you all, just hang in there. We know we're all in this country and really the world going through the most challenging time I can say in our lifetime. But in the midst of the challenges, it's good to have a little fun, I say. And this is about having some fun. Have an opportunity to be creative. I want to thank all of our panelists again, all of our staff and team. You all know who you are. Thank all of our Black Women's Roundtable leaders who will be organizing this in the states that are states for the challenge. Thank again, I've nothing been repeating for Coca-Cola Company and for Verizon for investing in this idea. And that's really what it was, an idea of how we can support. As a Black Women's Roundtable, we always try to be a part of the solutions. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We know there's so much going on out here. We want to harness that. We like to harness and showcase. We carry around binders full virtually of so much talent of Black women and girls. And we just want to do our part in this dash on this journey. So for those out there who have ideas, if you're 16, make sure I get the age right, 16, 17, you can participate in the challenge for our girlpreneur. And if you're 18 and up, you can participate in the challenge as well. So I just want to say thank you all. Be safe out there and follow us on Facebook at NCBCP_Black Women's Roundtable. Or if you just say Black Women's Roundtable, all this stuff is going to come up. And so we're not going to take any more of your day. So thank you. Thank you for all the stars out there. And thank you again for our media partners, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Essence, and Black Enterprise, and our investment sponsors, the Coca-Cola Company and Verizon. And you all have a blessed day and be safe.